set up another camera.
It's like
I'm only gonna take one, so it's all good.
morning. Good morning.
How are you?
No, you're good.
All right, we got head coach Pat Noonan ahead of the team's trip to Orlando. Carter, you want to start us off?
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Quick turnaround here again. How have the guys come off of Wednesday, and if we can get an update on OB, that'd be nice as well.
We came out of it a little banged up. There's, a couple question marks, but certainly a good result and performance, but it came at a little expense, and that's the health of some of the guys. So OB, we're still looking at the extent of the time he'll miss. He picked up an injury and won't be available for tomorrow, but he'll be out a little while. We just don't know the extent of it at this point.
With it being, starting to get closer into the middle of the summer, heat's ramping up, humidity as well, going to Florida, how much has this coming out of Montreal impacted your plans on rotation, and how much will that come into effect this weekend?
Yeah, you just kind of follow up with guys to see, how the recovery has been. So it was a lot of conversations this morning around the recovery component of it and who's going to be ready. But you also have to factor in the quick turnaround and the opponent and really what's the best starting point for us to try to be fresh, but also have consistency and a team that's over the last two games done a good job together.
On Orlando, looking at that team, especially looking at the minutes played leaders on that team, it stands out to me that so many of those guys have been there for 4, 5, 6 years now. There's a lot of consistency in their squad. Is that apparent when you watch them play, and how does that kind of translate to what happens on the field?
It is apparent. I think a very strong team. Consistency in their play. Oscar has done a really good job with their group. I think they scout well. I think they have a very talented team and have some really good new additions to the group, good depth. So when we watch, their team and when you see them play against different types of teams and playing styles, home and away, I just think they have a really good balance of how they can go and win games. Good with the ball. They're good in transition. They're physical. I think they compete in a really good way. I think they manage games in an intelligent way. So, an all-around really strong group.
Good morning. What have you seen from Martin Ojeda kind of having a breakout year goal-scoring-wise over there?
I think he finds the game really well. Good patience in moving in front of, opponents' back lines. Knows how to get onto his preferred foot to create, whether that's with the pass, the dribble, the shot. He's been in excellent form, as is Muriel. Enrique, when he's on, is a handful. I know they obviously lost McGuire, so their front four is as strong and as deep as anybody in the league. But Ojeda's done a good job of pulling the strings and having a really strong impact. Puts the work in on both sides of the ball, so a very talented player.
Yeah, and after last game, you mentioned Evander's movements kind of alongside his teammates, obviously leading to 3 goals there. Kind of how can you replicate that success and that ruthlessness in the attack?
Yeah, that's the challenge, is continuing to find ways to get him on the ball to impact the game. I thought our midfield, movements were in sync and allowed us to, at times, have him be the free man and get him into spots to be able to receive and face goal without always having a defender on him. So that was important. I think he's, even with pressure, is able to get out of that pressure and find ways to impact the game. It's knowing when to play simple and when to try to be a playmaker. And I think there was a couple moments in the second half where maybe he got away from it a little bit, but that's me being, demanding of how does he consistently make the right choices, because he made a lot of good choices in that game that put him and his teammates in position to attack goal. And then I really like the way he arrived in the box. In the first one, it was a little less pace than I originally saw from the touchline. He was more patient in that movement to allow Kai and Kevin to run to goal, who did an excellent job of opening up that space, and DeAndre identified it. But on his second goal, the change of speed to attack Lucas's cross was a hunger that we want to see more.
Absolutely. And then kind of on the other side of the ball, you praise the defense for most of the match up until that the last few moments. Obviously just one goal given up in the last two games, kind of getting back to that defensive identity. Kind of how do you replicate that moving forward and continue to string in those strong defensive performances?
Yeah, it's understanding in different areas of the field and different phases of play how we have to approach the game to be successful. So whether it's stepping up on goal kicks and getting our structure right and understanding where we want the ball to go. If our pressure's broken, how do we get behind the ball in the right moments to just wait for another pressing moment in transition? How do we recover to slow progress? All these details you have to get right over the course of the game. And I thought, for the most part, like I said, taking aside a stretch at the beginning and the end of the game, we defended the ball in a good way.
Pat, Lucas Engel has slotted in, I think, in a really strong way for you as a center back, moving in from that more wing back position. What about his skill set has allowed you to be able to use him in that way, and how have you seen that improve your squad?
I think his vision when he's on the ball to find different types of passes is something we like. When I look at the Montreal game, I think he took too many risks and had too many errant passes. He knows that because I've already told him and he's already admitted it. But, it's understanding when to play the simple pass, and with his vision and ability to, play over distances, when to make those passes. When does it make sense? When are you playing it into an attacker, in our highest line of in the attack? Does he have the support to make sense to have a pass over range? If it's not on, when does he rotate the ball? Just those little details he can get better with, but he's got a comfort level on the ball and a vision that I think allows us to initiate our attacks in a good way. Defensively, there's plenty of similarities as to when he's playing in a back four, of when he has to be in a cover position, when he has to release off the line. So I think he has a pretty good idea and a pretty good, soccer IQ to be able to, slot into that, left center back role and be effective.
The MLS All-Star selections were announced earlier this week, and you have two All-Stars on your squad, in Miles and Evander. What did you make of those selections, and were you, particularly on a guy like Kevin Denke, disappointed to see him not recognized in the same way?
I think that Miles and Evander are deserving. You can argue Kevin is too, but let's think about this situation. I'm disappointed. We want that Kevin did make it for him, because I know that would have been nice for him and for our team. 30 teams, 22 players being selected. There's going to be a lot of snubs. I think every team probably has a group of players that they think deserve to go. So this is always going to be the case. You're not going to get 5, 6, 7 guys selected off your team. That'd be great, but it typically doesn't happen. So I don't think that situation's any different than other coaches, other players on other teams feeling that they have players that they think deserve to be there. And so I'm happy we have 2 selected that'll go represent our team. I wish we had more, but what I say to these guys all the time is those recognitions are because the team's typically doing well, and understand that your teammates are helping you get there. And Kevin has helped Evander get there, and Kevin has helped Miles get there. Everybody's working together to try to have success, and when individuals are acknowledged for that and rewarded for that, everybody should feel good about it. And hopefully Kevin can move forward the same way he has prior to this All-Star thing, and understand that he's trying to help FCC win games. And if it's motivation, great. If it's not, he continues in a strong way, and I think we'll be okay.
Last one from me. The Club World Cup, its time in Cincinnati has come to an end, but the tournament goes on. But since it's done here, I was curious if you were able to attend some of those matches and what you made of the tournament, but also how MLS fared in the tournament, what that means for the league.
I was only able to attend the Salzburg and Pachuca game, and it was a nice level. Unfortunately, the weather became a factor, but I was able to take my daughter and her friends. So it's nice to see different leagues competing against each other. We know Pachuca a little bit better than we know Salzburg, but the game was played at a good level. The rest were just observing from home or on the road. And then as far as how the MLS teams have done, obviously Miami getting through is a success for the league. It's not easy. There's some top competitions. I think Seattle and LAFC showed really well, despite not getting the results. That's you're playing teams like Atletico Madrid and trying to advance, and that's not easy. And but they played well. They were in the games, and hopefully it's not just about entering the competition and trying to stay in games. It's to try to win games and try to advance and be top teams and be a top league. We know we have a long way to go, if we're being honest. But for those three teams, I think they did a good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.